ToesDay, yay! Okay, so every Tuesday at 6 p.m. from 6 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is California time, I talk a little bit about toe reading and specifically how toe reading affects you and why it's important. Okay, so I'm obviously extremely passionate about toe reading. It's something that I've been doing for more than 14 years now. And I feel like it's super, super important for people to know about this amazing tool in toe reading. There's so many different ways that it can be used. It can be used to help ourselves get past blocks that we have, subconscious belief systems that we may or may not know about. Sometimes we know about them, sometimes we don't, but it shows up physically in the shape, direction, color, etc., etc., etc. within the toe. And so even if we don't know it, we can look to see it. If we do know it, we can look to see how it's changing and adjusting so that when we're in a position of creating change and wanting change in our life, that's the best way to do it, is to look down at our feet and see that change happening. So, for example, I came across somebody who is doing a 40-day challenge to show up every single day on camera and do a live presentation to give value back to the people watching his experience, which is fantastic. I think that's an amazing challenge, and he's a very engaging speaker, and he has so far done really, really well at these challenges. A shift that happened for him very recently is that he went from saying, his goal in life is to be the best motivational speaker on the planet. So when he says that, he's putting that out into the future. So because in the month of November, we're talking about the action toes and the temperament, which is the same as the temperament toes, which is the middle toe. What that means in his experience is that his middle toe will show up with like the padding, so the skin will be heavier and thicker on the baby toe side of his action or temperament toes, which means that his thoughts, feelings, and emotions and beliefs about whatever it is that he's communicating are stuck in the future. And what happens when we get stuck in the future is we create a reality that it doesn't conform to what we want. It keeps that carrot out in front of the cart of life that we're driving. I'm using metaphors here. So that's one of my favorite metaphors is, we can all kind of picture in our head sitting on top of a wagon with a horse pulling the cart for us, okay? That, if you will, is the essence of us driving our life forward. So if we think about future communication or future speak in how we communicate the desires and wants and needs that we have in life, that will end up showing up as, we might say things like, eventually I will get to that. Or in this particular case, I was using the gentleman who's a motivational speaker. He wants to be the best motivational speaker in the whole world. Okay. He wants to be thought of that way. So he was saying, I am going to be the best. My goal is to become the best speaker in the whole wide world. That's what he kept saying to himself. My goal is to become the best speaker in the whole wide world. Well, that word become ends up putting that carrot dangling out before the horse, carrot being the dream that he wants to create in his life. And if he brings that carrot forward into a present tense statement, meaning I am the best motivational speaker on the planet or in the world or whatever it was that was his big dream, he already is that. He's already the embodiment of exactly what he wants in life. Now it's a matter of programming his thoughts, beliefs, and emotions to agree with that idea and to really truly embody it and believe it. And every time he gets on screen, he's thinking to himself, I am the best motivational speaker on the planet. It's amazing how that will shift. And so what that will do in the toes is it will show up as the middle toe padding will start to diminish on that baby toe side, and it will start to even out. Instead of being heavy or thicker on the one side of the toe, it will be even on both sides of the toe. And by the toe, I mean based on where the toenail is on that foot. So to give you an example of what that looks like, here is a toe that this is the middle toe. And you can see that this person has a little bit of a pointed padding, but they have less padding on the big toe side and more padding on the baby toe side. This is exactly the kind of toe that this guy has, okay? So his speech is about the future. He's becoming, he's not there yet, but he's working toward a goal in life. Well, if we say it to ourselves that way enough times, the universe says, okay, you don't want it yet? Okay, keep waiting. So we have to adjust our languaging because words are wands, right? That's a book by Our Words Are Our Wands by Florence Scovel Shinn. It's fantastic if you haven't read it. It's very Bible-centric, but it takes this idea of the law of attraction as noted in the Bible and brings it to reality using stories. So I really appreciate the way that she's written that book. Anyway, so what that ends up being is that he's keeping that carrot dangling in the future, right? So once he starts to say to himself every single day, and this person, once this person starts saying that to herself, this is a girl, every day, I am whatever it is that the goal is in life. So for him, it was, I am the best motivational speaker in the world. Then it becomes a reality. Then the universe says, okay, great, you're ready for it. Now we can send it to you. Now we can actually make it happen. Now it will show up in your world because now you're embodying this idea that it's already here, that you are already what it is that you want to be. Isn't that amazing? It makes me so excited. It gives me goosebumps all over. So when our thoughts, feelings, and emotions and our belief systems match what our goals are in life, that's when the magic happens. It's when our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are out of sync with what we want in life that we have trouble creating that in our world or in our experience. And if you're just joining, definitely put a little comment in because I can see that there are people here, but I can't see who you are. So if you're here, I would love to acknowledge you. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about what that looks like on these toes. Okay, so I'll tilt that picture so that you can see it. And if you look at these toes, you can see that, I mean, these are very even keel feet. All the toes are about equal. There's no one toe that kind of jumps out as particularly bigger or wider, or these toes are pretty even. So this is somebody who's very even-tempered. They're going to be somebody who's probably a little soft around the edges, so they're very gracious with how they speak. Oh, hey, Blakey, so glad you're here. So glad you're here. So they're going to be somebody who's very even-tempered. They might even be to the point where they might beat around the bush and they might not address their temper or address their behavior. They might avoid it. So it's not necessarily, it's a good thing in the context of this is the person who's going to be a really good mediator, let's say, because she can see all sides of the story. She's very even-tempered. There's nothing that really rocks her boat per se. She's going to be a very solid person. She's going to be a very stable person. All the areas of her life are showing up in a gracious, gentle manner. But she's probably not going to have a whole lot of life experience. She's probably going to be a little bit naive when it comes to how things show up in her world. And when I look at these toes even deeper, especially in relation to the action and temperament toe, which is the toe that we're focused on this month, I can see that this toe is kind of hiding under, that one side of it is hiding under the communication toe, which is the toe we talked about last month. So when, on this side, on her right side, it's not quite as hidden underneath. Can you see that? Can you see the difference there? So out in the real world, she's showing up as somebody with a really positive energy, with somebody who, she kind of says it like it is. She's not afraid to voice her opinion. She's probably really gracious about how she voices her opinion. And you can tell that because the toes are really rounded at the top. There's a little bit of a rounding to her toes. And that the padding shows where the toenail does not go past the padding. So all of those things mean something when it comes to, what this personality type looks like. And then, but then inside on her, so the right side is our external self, the left side is our internal self. It's the yin and the yang of our life. This toe right here, her internal action and temperament toe, is hidden under that communication toe, or it's kind of trying to hide there. So this is somebody that probably is a little bit insecure about what actions to take. She's probably not a very good decision maker. She's probably somebody who really wants to take action, but the only way that's going to happen is when she actually verbalizes it to herself, especially with those internal struggles that we deal with, right? So you would think that those look like absolutely perfect toes, right? But a toe reader can see a little bit past that, which is so fun. Do you know that a toe reader takes a vow not to look at anybody's toes that they don't know for more than, their vow is 10 seconds. I make myself take a vow of their vow is 30 seconds. I make myself take a vow of only 10 seconds or less, because there's so much that shows up in somebody's toes. And if they haven't given you permission to look at their sole, because it's not a mistake that we refer to the bottoms of our feet as our sole, because that's where our soul actually shows up, at least for me, because I know how to read it. It's so crazy. It's so amazing. But anyway, so we take a vow to not look unless we've been invited to look. So let's just look at these action toes. I believe this is a gentleman's feet, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what kind of, what the gender is. But notice these little, there's a little teeny tiny mark. It's like a freckle or a mole of some kind. That actually means something in toe reading. On the middle toe, the middle toe is the action or temperament toe. So these little, what we in toe reading call angel kisses. The angel kisses show up as a sign that this person is gifted in that area. Now, if they know they're gifted, their toes will come straight off of their foot and the toenail will not take a dive toward the floor. When the toenail takes a dive toward the floor, if you can see that in this, see how that kind of the last quarter of this toe kind of takes that dive toward the earth, that means that this person does not trust themselves. They don't trust themselves to make decisions and take action on them and feel really good about it. So they're probably in a constant state of struggle over taking action and making decisions and going forward in their life and feeling really positive and good about what their life looks like or what their future looks like. They're probably a little on the negative side. They probably see all the problems that are happening. Much like I was saying earlier, this action toe, which is the left foot, the internal self foot, this toe has a padding that's a little bit thicker on the baby toe side, and it's hidden under that communication toe again. So that's going to tell me that this is somebody who is very future oriented. So they make a lot of plans about the future, but following through with what those plans look like in their mind's eye has a tendency to fall by the wayside. Okay, so this is not somebody who follows through. So, you know, gosh, if we could see everybody's toes before we hired them, seriously, we would never make a mistake hiring somebody who works really well with us. It's so cool. Okay, so I'm just going to go over this toe reading map really quick, just so that I know that I've covered a little bit of everything for those of us who haven't seen toe reading before. The right side, as I said, is our external self side, our yang side. The left side is our internal self side, or our yin sign. Each toe represents a different element and a different subject in our lives, but it's the relationship to self that is our yin side, and it's our relationship to others that's our yang side. So ether, or our big toe, which is the destiny or the big picture in our life, on our right side will be our big picture in relation to other people. Whereas ether, destiny, or big picture on our left foot will show up as what that looks like deep within our soul. So it's not surprising when our toes show up different from side to side. And it may just be a slight difference, but it's enough of a difference that a toe reader would be able to determine what that difference is. The air toe is the second toe. That toe has to do with communication, creativity, our analytical behavior. So that's, I think it was kind of being weird. The light was being weird. Okay, so the air toe is communication, creativity, and analytical behavior, and how that shows up within ourselves versus externally. The fire toe is the one that we were talking about earlier. That's our action. It's also our temperament. So interestingly enough, somebody who has anger management issues, it will always show up in that middle toe. It will always show up in the middle toe, and it will be a toe that takes that dive toward the floor. So that other toe earlier, actually this toe right here, I can see. So this person, they have a right on their right side, which is their external self side. That middle toe takes a serious dive toward the floor. So this is somebody who's going to see the glass as half empty. They're not going to see the glass as half full, and they're certainly not going to see the glass as completely full. They're also going to have anger issues when it comes to how to deal with the emotion around all of that negative energy, or that depression, or that focus on all the things that are going wrong instead of the focus on the things that are going right. Okay, back to the map. So when it comes to the second, what I call the ring finger toe, you can see on a hand, it shows up very obviously. That is our water toe, and that is all about our relationships. So internally within ourselves, our relationship to higher self versus our relationship to the people in our lives. We're going to talk the whole month of December about the relationship toe. So we'll definitely submit relationship toe questions so that I can address those on the lives in December. Then last but not least, we have the earth toe, which is all about that, the earth toe is the toe that makes me the happiest. The earth toe is the one that most people have a lot of work to do when it comes to how it shows up for us here on earth. So earth toe is the baby toe. It's the only one that's different from the left to the right side. On the right side, which is our external self side, it's about our prosperity and abundance. So we can literally see on our toe whether that person, or ourselves for that matter, have prosperity and abundant mindset. If we believe we have prosperity and abundance in our life, it will show up on that toe. Will also show up if we don't believe it, right? Same is true with the internal self toe, which is all about our faith and trust. So if we have trust issues, if we have concerns about people and places and things and whether or not anything's going to happen, and that anxiety, that will show up in the left baby toe. Okay, so super, super interesting. I can't wait to talk about that. That is going to be in the month of January. Actually, we start with faith and trust, because without it, prosperity and abundance does not flow easily into our lives. It might come and go and come and go and kind of like play this ping pong match in our lives if our faith and trust is not in place securely and stably. But when we work on our faith and trust, and that shows up beautifully and comfortably and excitedly, then the abundance and prosperity can flow super, super easy. So that will be, faith and trust will be in January, prosperity and abundance will be in February. But next month, super, super excited. Hey, Janine, so glad you're here. Yay. So next month, we'll talk about relationships, which is our ring finger toe. So back to, I just wanted to touch one more thing on the action toe that I was showing you earlier. So one of the things that I meant to say, that the little accents, or they're freckles, they're something, there's some sort of mark on the foot. So it's interesting, because if somebody gets a tattoo on the line of whatever toe it is, that's an accent, just like these little freckles are, of that being something that's really, really important to that person. It's also something they're really gifted at. They have a natural gift in that area. Whether they get it, whether they put that into action in their own lives or not, that will determine, the shape or direction of the toe will determine whether that's showing up for them. So on this particular picture, where both of this person's action toes are highlighted with these little, what I call angel kisses. So the angels have kissed those action toes and those temperament toes. So this person is really gifted, and they're actually here to probably learn the most lessons when it comes to taking action and having a gracious, all-accepting temperament. But the funny thing is that when we're here to learn something, it doesn't always show up in our lives as a piece of cake, right? We don't really learn from the things that go easy in our life, do we? We learn from the things that go difficult in our life. That's the lessons, thick skulls, right? Humans. I think we all have a thick skull to a certain degree, unless this is our last time here on Earth, in which case you'll find that those people have the patience of saints, literally. That's why we call them saints. So let me show you this piece of the puzzle. Okay. So here's where this person needs, so I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were on, Janine, so I'll repeat it. The middle toe, because these are the gifted toes on this individual, but because the tips of them go toward the floor and or hide a little bit under that communication toe, we're talking about somebody who struggles with taking action and struggles with believing that that action is going to serve their highest purpose path and the highest purpose path of everyone around them, right? And they're not 100% sure how to communicate that to the world around them. Probably if they started behaving a little bit more authentically and started just voicing their opinion and not caring what anybody thought about it, it would probably straighten that out and have the and stop hiding under the communication toe. But what that means okay, so this is proof. This is just a way to confirm that what I just said was true. Backing up a little bit. When I do toe readings and when I look at toe reading pictures, I intuit information, and kind of what comes out of my mouth is not necessarily from Jamie Allen Bishop. It might be from the angels or whatever other, worldly experience it is. But so I just said that out loud, and here's the proof of why that looks that way. So I know this is the bottom side of this foot, but those little angel kisses showed up right where that person's toe met their foot, right? Okay, so I'm gonna just switch really quick and just show you. It's right where the toe meets the full foot, right? Do you agree with that? Looks good? So here's on this map what they're here to work on, or what the thing is that they're here to learn. So they probably are somebody who have like the kind of back pain that shows up in the lower neck, or maybe even shooting into that shoulder area, that right between the shoulder blades. They probably have that kind of back pain, and it means that they really need to work on where the throat chakra and the heart chakra match. And what does that look like when our heart chakra and our throat chakra are in alignment with each other? It looks like we're speaking our truth, and we don't care what anybody else says. So thank you for the confirmation, guys. I didn't expect to have that, but there it is. It's awesome. I love that. My alarm just went off to wrap this up. So if you guys have any questions, let's answer some questions. And if you don't have questions, I greatly appreciate you being here. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday from 6 to 6:30 California time. Or you can reach me for an online toe reading. We've been doing online toe readings for the last 8 years. So I feel like when COVID hit and everybody was panicking over this virtual environment, I was like, piece of cake, I got that. I already do that. Okay, so if we don't have sound, thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Jamie Bishop with Soul Heart Entertainment. Bye for now.